Now friends, I have already told you about the use of this kind of verb in positive sentence. You know, assertive sentence is divided into two parts. First of all, first one is the positive sentences and then the second one is negative sentences. So this time I am going to explain before you and also the giving examples about the use of negative sentences and how to use the negative verb in these cases. Now come to the examples first. The first one is, he has not had his dinner. This has, as I have already told you, is helping verb, and obviously this had is third form of verb have, but it is main verb. Mind it, this is helping verb, this is main verb, and that too verb V3, that is past participle form. Okay. Now the second one, I have not had my fees. I have already shown you when this have verb become principal verb, what does it mean or indicate or denote? I have already shown you a list. I think I must not repeat it. I have not had my fees, okay? And last of all, Tom had not had his dues. Then what is the difference between these two and the last one? These two is in present perfect tense and the last one is in past perfect tense. And that is why this had been changed to had. Okay? But this had is helping verb, but this had is main verb as usual. Then what should be the structural form then? Subject plus have has according to the person and number of the pronoun or noun, whatever it may be, plus not, plus had, plus object if there be any. Now, if it is in past perfect tense, then there is not much difference. Subject as usual. In place of have, there should be had since it is in past perfect tense. And plus not to indicate or to mention the negative sense, and then had as usual. This is the main verb and plus object if there be any. There is not much difference. The only difference is that there had been the addition of not to mean the negative sense. Where it has been placed? It has been placed between the helping verb and the main verb. Do you follow my point? The not differentiates the negative sentence from the positive sentence by the sheer placement of itself. It has been used or placed between the helping verb and the main verb. So these things, I think, are clear to you. Now let us come to discuss about the use of these things in interrogative sentences. What will be their formation and how could I start such sentences? Now it's time now how to use such kind of verbs in interrogative sentences. You know, in interrogative sentences, there are also two divisions. What are the divisions? The first one is positive interrogative and the second one is negative interrogatives. Now let us see the examples of positive interrogative first. In interrogative sentences, mind it, the auxiliary verb or the helping verb will be placed first or will be written first. So, have you had your dinner? I am asking you whether you have bought your dinner or not. have you had your dinner? Okay? Or has he had his fees? You see, here this helping verb has come first to denote or to make sense of interrogative sentence. Mind it, this have or has, or this has, or when it is in past tense, or this had, is used at first to mean that this is interrogative sentence. Okay, my friend? So these examples are in present perfect tense. Then according to the subject that is placed after the helping verb, this have has is used. If the subject is you, I or we or the plural form of any pronoun, then the helping verb should be have. But if the verb is in singular form and that too in third person singular number, then the helping verb will look like this, that is has. Has he had his fees? I said, next one, has John had his dues? First of all, this helping verb, then subject. Since John is third person singular number, though it is noun, this has been placed, then had the main verb V3, his dues. Okay. Now these two are in past perfect tense. That's why in place of have has, this had has been written. Had you had your dinner? Whether you had, that means whether you had had your dinner. So this is the question. Had you had your dinner? Since it is in past perfect tense, this has have become had. Okay? Had. And this had, the main verb is always in third form. Now come to the last example. Had Alex had his fees? In past tense, one thing is peculiar. There is no have or has like this. The only one form, that is had. Had Alex had his fees? So the formation will be like this. First of all, the helping verb have has had. Then the subject, maybe pronoun or noun. Then the had, main verb, third form, and then object. Now come to the negative interrogative. What it will be like? First of all, the first example, all in present perfect tense. The second part is past perfect tense. Have you not had your dinner? Whether yes or not. Have you not had your dinner? There is some difference, I will tell you later. Has he not had his fees? These are the positives, these are the negatives. Has not John had his dues? Could you see one difference there is? Here have, has, according to the number and person of the subject. There is no doubt about it. But here you see, after this have has, this subject has been placed. But in this case, after the has and the subject John, not has been placed. You may ask me question, why sir? Here not is after the subject, but here not before the subject. One thing, keep it in mind. When in question form, and that too in negative sentences, if the subject is pronoun, then it must be placed in between the helping verb and the negative sentence not. In between these two words, the pronouns must be placed. But if the subject is noun, then this not will be placed between the helping verb and the subject. To follow my mind, this is the difference. There is no other difference. If the pronoun is there, not will be after the subject, but if the subject is noun, the not will come first after the helping verb. Similarly, come to the past perfect tense. Had you not had your dinner? Simple thing. As it was in present tense, have as were there. Since it is in past tense, the helping verb has been had. Had you not had your dinner? You like this. Between had and not, the subject has been placed. But when the subject is a noun, similarly, this has been used like this, but written like this. Had not Alex had his peace? Then what should be the formation? First of all, the helping verb, have as had. Then if it is pronoun, the pronoun will come. Then the not negative sense. Then the main verb third form. Then object. Now, when the subject is noun, okay, then this very word not, that the negative sense will be placed in between the helping verb has and the subject itself. But come to the past perfect tense, if the subject is pronoun, according to the previous ones, the subject will be placed between the helping verb and the negative sense, the negative word not. But if the subject is noun, it will be like the previous one, had not Alex, that is had first, then not, the negative sense, the negative meaning, the negative sense rather, and then subject, and then had V3, and then the object. Do you follow my mind? This will be the structural form. I think I have been able to give you a modicum of idea about how has had, have had, and had is used in positive sentence, in negative sentence, and in interrogative sentences. Okay, my friend? So, up to this, thank you for watching. See you again.